Welcome, 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 welcome to another episode of the Thesollunadiaries with me, Hope Maluleke. In today's episode is a conversation about where do we draw the line when it comes to preference and being phobic. And this is the first part of the conversation. And yes, I am shooting this intro in real time because I'm currently editing this episode and I realized that I don't have an intro. But anyway, let's just get into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
So I was on Twitter this one time, and Neo asked Guti, okay, no, not the Neo that you know, Neo the YouTuber.
I was like, okay,
Yeah?
interesting.
No, I was on Twitter this one time, and she was asking Guti, what's the... Okay, no, it was basically a chat about preference and being phobic. So whether it's fetophobic, whether it's homophobic and stuff like that. And she was asking Guti, what is the reason that you would never date someone that is bisexual?
Flip! I was
But my
reading
thing
on
is
that.
now. My thing is now.
I was reading on that this
I
morning.
heard a whole lot of responses, right? And I sort of got like a new perspective, which is very different from my own. But for me, it brought me to the ultimate question, Guti. If that's like our reasoning behind certain things, that means that you can accuse people of all sorts of things, right? But now, where do we draw the line between being phobic and preference?
Let me read something.
What happened to choice? What happened to choice? So if I say Mina as Hope, I will only date, or my preference rather, is only dark-skinned guys. What sort of phobic is that? That means that I'll never date a... Does that mean that I have some sort of like...
I hope my classes didn't reflect that.
I doubt it. Like, where do we now, as Hope, and I say that, Mina, I'm only going to date dark-skinned guys. Does this mean now I have some sort of phobia against light-skinned guys? But then if that's the case, where are we drawing the line between preference?
I was reading this. I was like completely.
Okay, let's see what this one says. So it says, super straight is not a real sexuality. I fully get that. I fully get that. Like, Mina, if we're on a date and you say to me, yeah, and I ask you, are you straight? And you say to me, I'm super straight. Super straight or in denial? Super straight or in denial? Why do you feel the need?
Has been posed.
Yeah, it's like, why do you feel the need to
exactly
overemphasize
like
that? That's why I usually ask, and I feel like people find it a bit out of line, and I see how it can be a bit out of line, but still I ask the question, Guti, when I ask you whether you're straight or not, and then I ask you to, have you explored the other side? As much as you're exploring dating girls, have you explored
dating
guys or trying to pursue a guy or trying to pursue whatever that is? Because people think that we are straight by default. But my thing is, I can't say I'm straight if I have never tried anything else. If I've tried other things and I'm like, it's not my cup of tea. Not even like physically trying, but just like interest sake in terms of you as the person. Are you open to that possibility? Because the thing is, I feel like when you say you're super straight, that means that you're not even open to the possibility of you not being straight.
Even that whole thing, but now you find like straight people be like, can you please tell non-straight people to stop hitting on us?
If a non-straight person comes to you, tell them, Lutu, sorry, that's not my jazz.
Stop hitting.
And keep it moving.
Stop hitting on us.
As much as a guy can come to me and be like, oh, so I kind of like him. And I'm like, sorry. No,
exactly.
not my kind of.
Exactly. They're like, nah, tell non-straight people to stop hitting on us? You start being aggressive when like
it's
a
like,
person of the same sex comes and be like, I like you, like,
do you like me? Do I look gay to you? No. Go heal. Go heal. Go learn about yourself.
People have fragile masculinity, to be frank.
So this thing says, super straight is not a real sexuality. It is toxic masculinity incarnate. Ne? SIC.
Cis.
What
like
is that?
Cis straight. Like
Cis straight men asserting their sexuality as non-inclusive of trans people is not only transphobic, but it also harms the men who claim it as well. That is, toxic masculinity harms everyone, including cis straight men. In the end, this is not about sexuality or even about trans people. It is about patriarchy and how it attempts to restrict sexuality and gender into boxes.
Yeah. Is genitalia preference
Transphobic. If you deny dating someone because they are transgender, then action is, by definition, transphobic. The reason I do not have a penis is because I am a transgender. Let's do some simple logic here. If someone will not date me because I do not have a penis and I do not have a penis because I'm trans, they're dating me because I am trans. This is discriminating against me due to my transness, which is called transphobia. So yes, genital preference is absolutely transphobic. And then guys, I am phobic.
This brings you back to your question where
if we're looking at this in because this is I think everyone is just about sharing their perspective. I think this is someone else's perspective, and if I'm gonna judge myself based on this person's perspective, then I'm definitely phobic.
I completely disagreed when I read that. I was like, I don't think that's true. Thing is, one thing about me, I don't want to sound politically correct. If there's one thing about me, yes, I am more open. Get me? There's a difference between someone who's like, these are truths and these are my truths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that. However, I don't want to sound politically correct. I want to be like, okay, be sort of educated into things. Be like, for me to change my perspective, I want to be educated. When I read that, for me, I don't agree with it.
You don't think it's transphobic?
Oh, well, that's like my perspective. I'm not invalidating that person.
What is making you say that it's not transphobic? Because from what I read there, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Maybe I'm trying to I don't know. Then I feel like this sort of like now blurs the line between preference and being phobic.
That's why I'm saying, Guti, there's a very thin line.
But now,
between
what
preference
if
and
the only
and
thing
phobic?
I want is a vagina or the only thing I want is a penis? What happens then? The minute I find out that you won't. Okay,
it's tricky. It's tricky because now it's like, I as Hope, I wouldn't be comfortable with dating a bi person, and not because I have any form of. It's literally just because of preference. I'd rather be with someone that wants to be with girls and girls only. I feel like that kind of gives me some sort of, and that's just me in my own mindset of
do you think
what
it's more
a
like
relationship should be
thing?
about. It's not just about, it's good to you be playing for both teams. I don't think it's necessarily.
But what I mean is that, do you think
security thing?
If you date like a cis straight man, that okay, cool. It's more like on a security level that you feel like they'll never. I feel like there's a misconception.
It's not that. It's not
bi
that.
people as well. I learned that.
Yeah, good to
a while ago. We think that they can never be monogamous.
That's the thing. That's my thing, Guti. I don't think. I I don't know, man. I don't think I'll be able to date a bi person, and it's literally out of preference, not because I have anything against them, but I just like a sense. I can't even say this because it's so wrong.
But say it. We're not trying to be politically correct here. We're going to edit this anyway, so.
I'd rather be with someone that is straight and fully straight, whatever that means, in the sense that it means that. Because I think it gives me a sense of you know what you want. And this is what you're about.
That is wrong. That is so wrong.
On so many
fully
levels.
wrong. Like,
because it gives
the impression
the
that
insinuation that I'm saying that bi people don't know what they want.
In a way.
And it's not that. But I hear it sounds like that.
It's so wrong.
It sounds like that. That's why I'm saying that when it comes to conversations of that line between being phobic and preference, then that line can get easily blurred. Easily. Because I can name so many things that are my preference, and I'm not choosing those things in comparison to the other. It's just, this is what I like, and that's it. I don't have to like this because that is like that. Because what I find and what I think is very problematic when it comes to the preference chat is when I say, no, I prefer light-skinned girls because dark-skinned girls are this way, that way. Or I prefer tall guys because short guys are this way. Why does my preference have to come in comparison to something else? In my case, I like this because I like this,
like
not because I'm comparing
some sort of hierarchy.
Yeah, some sort of like superiority, inferiority.
Yeah,
some people need to feel subordinate to others because they look this certain way. This way, I feel like then that is not a preference. That is you being, if you're basing it on wanting white girls compared to black girls, then that is racist. If you're comparing this to that, the moment there's comparison there, then that's when I think it's problematic. But the moment I can say, no, this is what I prefer. So can you
then say, Hore, if I say I love, like I want someone with a vagina over someone with a penis, is there a comparison?
Why do you have to say you like that over that? This is not ice cream. This is not food. This is not a pair of shoes.
I feel you. So it's just.
Because then I feel like in that case, then there are things underlining that preference. And things that are underlining that preference is because they have been embedded in some sort of idea. So whether that idea is a patriarchal idea, whether that idea is a racist idea, whether it's a heteronormative idea, but it's embedded in something that then makes your question, and when it makes your preference very questionable, because then that means that you're hiding all of this nonsense under this preference umbrella.
Yes,
which I want this because no, it's my preference.
Fully get you. Fully understand you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot that it's not even about.
It's not always as simple.
It's not
as
even
we make
about. Because I feel like another thing we as a society, one thing that like is fear of being policed. How we receive policing makes us like fear to like engage in such conversations because we know that
next thing I'm gonna trend
exactly
on Twitter. Next thing I'm gonna be bashed around.
The fact that number one, if right now, hope not, I've said something that
the fact that you even hope not. What happens to expressing my view?
But